The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey
Hey there, Laura
everybody, welcome,
Posey.
welcome, welcome. I am here, David. It's great to hear you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for hosting this Speaker Palooza party that we're about to have.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think some people think that to be here today, they have to already have a speaking business and be looking to grow it. And I think you're going to talk a little bit about how to get your speaking business going. Am I right?
Oh, well, exactly. And even the subtitle here, it's how to make real money as an expert who speaks professionally. So this is, business owners, entrepreneurs, service professionals. The doors are wide open here, folks. This is not just for speakers. This is if you want to monetize your expertise and market your smarts.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I can tell you, folks, I brought David to you today. One, because I know how powerful speaking is. When I add speaking to my business, my sales go through the roof. I've grown my list. I probably most of the 16,000 people on my list have seen me speak. I mean, it's just so unbelievably powerful. So I know that it works, but I wanted to bring David because David actually can teach you how to do this, right? He is the author of a best-selling book called Do It Marketing, 77 Instant Action Ideas to Boost Sales, Maximize Profits, and Crush Your Competition. He's also the founder of the Speaker Profit Formula mentoring program, and he's already helped over 800 speakers, consultants, and experts boost their reach and revenue through the power of speaking. I met David because he's got an amazing podcast on iTunes that's on the business of speaking called The Speaking Show. So anybody that has a podcast called The Speaking Show, knows what the heck he's talking about. Not only that, but because he's a speaker himself, he actually does really good webinars and presentations. Like, he's fun to listen to. So that's why I brought David to you today, and I am so excited. I'm going to stop talking and just let you do your magic, David, if that's okay with you. I'm going to mute myself too, so that the dogs that I'm dog sitting for my stepdaughter don't bark in the background.
Fantastic. Well, and Woofy the Wonder Dog here, our resident 14-year-old Black Labrador Retriever, she may chime in while I'm talking, but that's perfectly fine. So welcome, everybody. Great to be here. Laura, again, thank you for that fantastic introduction. Let's get right into it. You are in the right place if you sell your expertise, knowledge, or wisdom. Notice I didn't say if you're already out there speaking. If you want to be a speaker, if you have been a speaker, that's great. But this is for smart people who want to monetize their expertise and, as Laura just said, take it to the next level with their lead generation, with their platform building, with their reach, with their revenue. So it certainly could include speakers, consultants, trainers, coaches, experts, authors, course creators, information marketers, entrepreneurs of any kind who have something to say or something to sell. My nickname for that tribe that I serve is Speaking Driven Professionals. Speaking Driven Professionals is what we're really here to talk about. And you can be a business owner and a speaking driven professional. You can be an entrepreneur and you're a speaking driven professional. You can have really any sort of business where you are the brains and the brawn of the operation. So if you use your knowledge to solve a business problem, this is for you. Here's our game plan. We're going to talk through a very specific, proven 7-step process for speaker marketing success. I'm going to start out with some bad strategic advice. And I always enjoy this part because this is my mistakes early on. I'll share those with you so you don't need to make them. Then we're going to talk about some pricing and speaker fee issues. And this is where a lot of entrepreneurs who start into the speaking world get messed up because there's some do's and don'ts to setting fees and getting fees. We're going to talk about some rookie mistakes to avoid and some next steps to help you make it happen. I'm also happy to hang out till the end here on our Q&A to answer any questions that you may have. Ethical bribe alert. If you hang out with us till the bitter end, I've got some super useful gifts for you. These are some templates and tools and scripts to help open some doors to speaking opportunities, both locally, regionally, nationally, even internationally, if you want to go that route. Here's where I came from, and here's how I have the privilege to share some of this information with you. This was not an easy journey that brought me to all those wonderful things that Laura was saying during our introduction. I started out as a theater guy. I graduated in 1985 from my undergraduate school. 1987, I got an MFA in stage directing. Did that for 4 years professionally in New York City, directing, assistant directing. I was a literary manager, new plays, old plays, Manhattan Punchline, Riverside Shakespeare Company, New Theater of Brooklyn, all those amazing places that you've never heard of. I was doing that. It was really tough to make money doing professional theater in New York, both then and now. And so a friend of mine says, well, you're doing this part-time teaching at your graduate school. Why don't you do that professionally? That's called corporate training. And maybe you can make some money doing that. So I took that advice, which was good advice, and that launched my 10-year corporate training career. After 10 years on the inside, I made, of course, the entrepreneurial leap, asking the question that perhaps many of you have asked, well, how hard can it be? I know what I'm doing. I'm a fantastic consultant. I'm a fantastic trainer. I'm a fantastic coach. How hard can it be to do this as an entrepreneur? Well, you guys know how hard it can be. Laura knows how hard it can be. Now, today, I know how hard it can be. But I'll tell you, for the first 3 years, I literally had no idea what I was doing. I had no platform, no list, no fans, no business connections, no clue. And I struggled for years. It was about 3 years of bumping and thumping against every brick wall and every dead end until I finally figured a few things out. I'll tell you the first mistake. We're going to start with the mistakes because they're fun and they're also my mistakes. This is a grocery bag. And the first mistake is to go out into the marketplace as a grocery bag speaker, thinking that any topic and every topic is a good topic for you. I dug up one of my very first one sheets. Back then, my company name was 360 Philadelphia, and I had 30 different workshops on day one in 2002. I bought into this franchise based out of Waco, Texas, called 360 Solutions. I was the Philadelphia regional guy. Didn't even have a lot of innovative naming conventions here. So I said, okay, 360 Solutions. I'm in Philly. We're calling this thing 360 Philadelphia. Laura tells me you're a smart group. I believe you're a smart group. Type in the question box, what is wrong with going out with 30 different products, 30 different services, 30 different offerings of any kind as an entrepreneur? What's wrong with this picture? Where did I undermine some things in my budding entrepreneurial business? Go ahead and type that in the question box, and let's see what answers you guys have here. I'm just going to open this up here. A little bit of a lag time here. So what's wrong with being the grocery bag speaker? What perception do buyers get when they see something like this? Just go ahead and type that answer into the question box, and let's get a feel for where you guys are with this. I was doing literally everything: leadership, team building, hiring, firing, leading through trust, leading through change, performance reviews, making meetings work, time management, negotiating. What's wrong with that strategy? Type in the question box, what's wrong with that strategy? And while you're typing, let me ask Laura. Laura, what's wrong with that strategy?
So I learned a long time ago, a confused mind always says no.
Mm-hmm.
And so I look at this and I don't know who you are or what you specialize in. And so I just think you're a jack of all trades and master of none. And if I'm going to pay money for a speaker, I want somebody who's a master.
Perfect. Exactly right. Jack of all trades, master of none, no perceived expertise, no niche, no specialization of any kind. So here's the first soundbite for you guys. First soundbite, so experts win on value, Generalists die on price. Write that down, make a fortune cookie, put a sign up in your office. Experts win on value. Generalists die on price. So you do not want to go out into the marketplace like I did, doing all that crazy stuff. Second mistake is no target market. I did not have a specific industry that I was targeting. One day I was with the plumbers, the next day I was with the lunch ladies, the next day I was with the accountants. The problem is that plumbers don't talk to the lunch ladies and don't talk to the accountants. So you have a real disconnect there trying to get any kind of momentum. I'll give you one more soundbite for the second mistake. It is very hard to hit a target that you cannot see. Again, I should be in the promotional products business. We should have bumper stickers. We should have keychains. We should have accessories and posters on the wall. But my friends, it is very hard to hit a target that you cannot see. So the era of spray and pray marketing in your business and as a speaker is over. You cannot be successful just randomly trying to connect with any particular target market or niche or industry. You have to be proactive, you have to be intentional, you have to be focused. And we'll talk about some specific drill down strategies into that in a couple of minutes here. Mistake number 3 is no sales ability. No sales ability. If you're scratching your head saying, man, what am I doing wrong? I've got a great website. I have a fantastic download goodie. I get some referrals from people. I'm just not selling anything. Maybe you haven't mastered the sales conversation. Maybe you're spending most of that sales conversation talking about you instead of asking about them. Questions will always get you further than statements, and being you-centric, audience-centric, client-centric will always be more successful than being self-centric. So that is a big third obstacle. I would call up meeting planners and conference producers and association executives. I would say, I have a great book and I have a great story and I have a fantastic, here's my website, here's my one sheet, here's my YouTube channel. And typically what you'd hear at the end of that conversation is, thanks, click. Or sometimes they wouldn't even say thanks, and we would just go right to the click. So you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that gal who is all self-centered. The message must not be I, me, my. That's a huge indicator that your sales conversations are going to go south, and they're going to go south fast. Now, this all really came home to roost when I sat in the buyer's chair for a year. I spent 12 months as a conference producer. I hired over 160 speakers, experts, entrepreneurs, executives, business owners into our virtual and live events. To be specific, we were actually doing 4 tracks of programming. The 4 tracks were human resources, safety, finance, and sales. So I hired HR experts and finance experts, CFOs, finance and accounting gurus, sales trainers, sales speakers, sales consultants, and safety trainers and safety experts and safety professors at colleges and universities and all of these kinds of things. Within 2 weeks of taking that interim position, I immediately knew what worked and I knew what didn't. So much so that back in 2008, I created a program based on this experience called Help Me Hire You. 21 strategies to get booked and stay booked from the buyer's perspective. And I delivered that at the National Speakers Association 2008 National Convention in New York City because so many speakers and so many entrepreneurs had no idea, and still to this day have no idea, what a meeting planner or conference producer or association executive who's in charge of hiring speakers for that meeting, what do they need to see? What do they want to see to put you in front of their audience? And then what are they scared of? What are they repelled by? What will they never, ever bring you in for because you did something wrong or said something wrong or failed to ask the right kind of question in the right kind of way, and you gave off an early warning signal that you're going to be a goofball, that you're going to be a goober, that you're going to be someone who they cannot trust in front of their big association meeting or state conference with 150 or 200 people. The sad part about that is those 150 or 200 people that are going to that meeting, they are your perfect target market. They are a prospect-rich environment. They are the buyers for what your company does, and because you screwed up the sales conversation with that meeting planner, you're not going to get to be in the front of that room. And then all the sales, all the spin-off business, all the lead generating power that is in that room that could really boost your business and accelerate your success by leaps and bounds, you don't get to do that because you don't get to be in that room because the positioning or the packaging or the messaging when you approach them with your speaking topic wasn't dialed in the right way. And so someone else is going to be in front of that room instead of you or me. The only last thing I'll share with you is I also earned the designation of Certified Speaking Professional from the National Speakers Association. I saved this email from 2014. I like to say this is the official time that hell froze over because this was such a long, painful, detailed process to earn this designation. So this is me receiving the award on stage, and yes, you do get a medal for becoming a certified speaking professional. Only about 10% of NSA members have earned this designation, and only about 10% of speakers are members of the NSA. So you can see it's a 10% of the 10% sort of thing. There's the medal hanging on my wall. There's the medal hanging on Woofy the Wonder Dog. When she wears it, of course, she's a certified speaking pooch and not a certified speaking professional. The reason I share this is there's a lot of people out there pitching and peddling, be a speaker, make $1 zillion, it's easy. Not only have they never had any success themselves, which is bad enough, but they've also never had successful clients. And so I'm operating in this kind of gray zone with a lot of sketchy competitors. Just be careful who you listen to when it comes to speaker training or the business of speaking or speaker marketing. There's some shysters, there's some goofballs, as there are in any sort of entrepreneurial business. And probably that's magnified by the internet marketing people that do this and victimize new and emerging entrepreneurs and speakers and so forth. So just to review, first 3 years, total disaster, started to study it, improve it, master it, 2009 through today, every single year since 2009, I've run a multiple six-figure speaking, training, and coaching business. We hit 500K. Actually, this is an old slide, so I apologize. We actually hit 7 figures in 2017, a little bit more than that in 2018, and we're heading for about a $2 million a year this year. I share that with you only because it's about baby steps. None of this is an overnight success. None of this is snap your fingers and boom, you're making millions of dollars. I think that $1 zillion speaker myth is what's holding a lot of people back and maybe even repelling some entrepreneurs and some smart business people because they can smell the phony on those promises. They can smell the hype on those promises. So I want to go back in and ask you guys in the question box, as far as having a speaking driven business, that's what I call a speaking plus. So you have your main business, you may have speaking on the side, there may be other things that you do as well, speaking plus consulting or speaking plus some form of coaching, speaking plus seminars. I've worked with folks in the insurance industry who do insurance seminars. I've worked with people who sell technology and they bring people together and they do a lot of technology seminars. Speaking plus an online course, speaking plus sponsorship, basically speaking plus to help you generate more leads, better prospects, and bigger sales. Given where you are in your business right now, let me get a feel for where you guys are right now. Are you doing any speaking right now? And if you are, it's speaking plus what? Type that in the question box for me. I'm going to go grab a drink here real quick. So are you doing any speaking now? Yes or no? And then if you have a speaking plus business model, type in it's speaking plus what? Speaking plus what? So we've got some speaking plus professional services, speaking plus coaching, says Holly. Robert says speaking plus seminars. I know Laura, of course, has speaking plus consulting, speaking plus online courses. You're not limited to just one here. Speaking plus coaching services.
Yeah, I think I have everything on here except the sponsors.
And that's just today. Let's talk
Yeah,
about tomorrow and next week. Sponsors are coming.
yeah, exactly.
Sponsors are coming, my friend. Good, 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 good. Gabby says speaking plus workshops. Great. So those answers are flying in. So that's really what we're talking about here. Now, here's the 7-step process. Whatever you're doing in your entrepreneurial adventure, speaking plus business model fits in here. The other part of your business fits in here. All of these things really have to be dialed in for you to have any sort of lasting and meaningful success. So it's strategy, packaging, focus, prospects, outreach, sales, and leverage. If you have all of those building blocks, you will have the condition that's in the right-hand side column under that big red arrow. If you're missing even one of these, and we're going to play a little Jenga, we're going to play a little let's remove one block and see if the house remains standing, what's going to happen when even one of these is missing is we're going to track along with this, and it's going to be the symptom or the condition under that right arrow in the right-hand side column. So if you're missing strategy, let's pull the strategy piece out first. Everything else might be dialed in. No strategy, you're going to have tacticitis. Tacticitis is jumping from tactic to tactic to tactic. As you know, tactics without a strategy equals busy work. It's busy work, it's waste of time, waste of money, and a lot of disappointment with the results. If you're not packaged the right way, so you're a samo lamo speaker with no packaging and no articulation and no distinction, the problem there on the right-hand side column is you're a commodity. Now you're competing against all kinds of look-alike and sound-alike competitors. You cannot support a premium price, and all kinds of things start to fall apart. Without focus, you're a squirrel, like Doug the dog from the movie Up, where everything is a distraction, everything looks good, and they're going squirrel, squirrel over here, squirrel over there, new platform, new tool, new guru to follow. I'm not following Laura anymore. I'm not following David anymore. I'm going to go follow, Joey Schmedlap because Joey Schmedlap is selling this new program about how to make $1 zillion on the interwebs. And so your squirrel problem starts to happen. Without a strong prospecting plan, you're doing what I was doing early on. So you're pinballing around from the lunch ladies to the accountants to the engineers. Problem is they don't talk to each other, so you're having a very hard time getting traction. If you're reluctant to do outreach, you do not pick up the phone, you don't send email, you don't have conversations with prospects, BKS stands for best kept secret. You are the best kept secret in your industry. You're the best kept secret in your niche. Your clients love you, but new prospects have never heard of you, and it's very tough to get a foothold. If you don't like sales, you don't love sales, and you haven't mastered sales, you're going to do what I did in the first 3 years of my business, which is slowly going broke. The bank account starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller. The revenue's not coming in to refill or expand or grow, and the mountain of cash that you're sitting on just gets a little bit smaller every day, every week, every month, and at some point you got to start looking at putting on the green apron and going to work at Starbucks, and we don't want you guys to do that. Finally, without leverage strategies, if everything that you're doing is tied to your time, attention, and presence, you are at risk of being stressed out, maxed out, and burned out. And so that's the condition down the right-hand side column there. Now, I have good news and bad news. The good news is if you and I sat down for a cup of coffee and you told me about your business for about 5 minutes, I could tell you which one of these is missing for you. The bad news is I've never met a single entrepreneur ever who's missing only one. Almost always they're missing 2, 3, sometimes even 4 of these. So as just a complete honesty self-check, I'm curious along these problems of the right-hand side, type in the question box which ones have been your familiar friends. At various points in my career, they have all been my familiar friends, going back to tacticitis, commodity, squirrel, pinball, best kept secret, BKS remember is best kept secret, slowly going broke, or burnout, which ones are you experiencing now, or which ones have you experienced in the past? Which one of these, or which ones are familiar to you? And I will tell you that I probably have a buffet. I probably have more than all you guys combined. And there's definitely ways to get around these. We're going to dig deep into each of these here. A little highlights reel coming up. But I'm curious, which one of these are you guys wrestling with, or have you wrestled with the most? And let me just pop into... So we've got BKS, we've got tacticitis, we've got a couple people slowly going broke, we've got some more BKS, commodity. So tacticitis seems to be big, commodity seems to be big. What else? Anything else popping up for you guys that you haven't had a chance to pop in yet? So yeah, none of these, when I'm talking about this, no one's saying, oh, speaks Greek to me. I've never had any of these problems. So we've all had these problems at various points in times. All right, well, let's start to unpack that for you. Let's go deep into at least a handful of these to help you guys out. The strategy part is the part that is most often the missing piece. We just go in, no forethought, no plan. I know, of course, this is Laura's business, so she's nodding her head with aggressive, assertive agreement here. But when it comes to speaking, it's really deadly because there's about 1,000 different business models in the world of experts who speak professionally. 500 of them will work for you, and 500 won't, and it's up to you to pick. It's up to you to decide and to be in charge of that decision. So here's some bad strategic advice. The bad strategic advice sounds like this. Whoops, wait a second. The bad strategic advice sounds like I lost my mouse. There it is. So people will tell you, okay, you gotta make money. You gotta make as a get rich quick as a speaker, how to make money online, millionaire speaker this, millionaire speaker that. Everyone wants to be a millionaire. The whole hype and sleazy, scummy nonsense around a really solid, high-integrity speaking strategy may have been holding you back, or like me, it may have been repelling you from even getting into this. So I would encourage you, tune out the crap. Immediately, when you see millionaire speaker this, millionaire speaker that, and it's a bunch of 20-something, 30-something guys and gals with spiky hair, trust me, they're not the millionaire speakers. They're not. So I happen to be, because of the revenue at our company, in 2017, I joined the $1 Million Speakers Group, which was like the $1 Million Roundtable in the insurance industry and the financial services industry. What was amazing to me when I joined that group is about 121 members of that group. The people who talked a good game were not in that group. The people who were in the $1 Million Speakers Group with me were the under-the-radar business enterprise level experts who were not speakers, but they did what we're talking about today, which is building a speaking-driven business. Huge, huge difference. You don't want to be a speaker, you want to be the CEO of a speaking-driven business, should you want to shift your business into that direction. Here's the bad strategic advice number 2. It's easy. Just make a killer video. No, you have to have an awesome one sheet. No, hang on. You have to have spend $10,000, $20,000 on a website. Well, I will tell you, every single speaker and every single graduate of our program, it wasn't about the video. It wasn't about the speaker sheet. It wasn't about spending $15,000 or $20,000 on a website. Here's what it was about. It was about having a business model and a service model and a revenue model that was dialed in, that was aligned with their skills and talents in the other part of their business, so that they got a repeatable tactical process that they could put activities and they could put metrics in on one end. On the other end, they would generate a predictable flow of clients and cash, not only as a speaker or a consultant or a coach, but also in the main part of their revenue generating business. If you don't build that machine, it's going to be very difficult to have predictable results. Mike Thompson came to us. He was a 30-year veteran of the speaking and the education business. In his own words, he was tired of hunting wabbits. He said, David, I'm just hunting wabbits. Get the gig, do the gig, get the gig, do the gig. Not really sustainable. I need to figure something else out so I can have a business and not just a practice. And what we got Mike focused on is the idea of corporate sponsorship, which is a fantastic speaking-driven strategy. I got one sponsor on the line for a $50,000 deal, and another one is $75,000 a year for 3 years. So that particular deal that he closed was $225,000. I can't say enough about David personally, and his mentoring program made all the difference. I have stopped hunting wabbits, and I'm finally building a real business around my speaking. So that's where you want to be. You do not want to be on the gig-to-gig hamster wheel. You do not want to be a, on-the-road speaker. That's not what this is about. This is about strategically adding 6 figures or more of speaking-driven revenue to the main business that you're already doing, either as a lead generator or as a revenue generator or as both. So for the first time in 30 years, a guy that's as smart and as seasoned as Mike Thompson, he's spoken to over 3 million people. He's written 20-some books. He's a PhD. He's a super smart guy, but he just couldn't get off that gig-to-gig hamster wheel. And he was working with schools, and he was working with companies, and he had some consulting projects, but he couldn't really dial in the speaking until we got the sponsorship model unlocked in his business. Let's look at packaging next. Packaging also has to do with what I was just saying, which is I don't even want you to consider yourself a professional speaker. Take that label and just shed that label. That's not even what we're after here at all. You're not a professional speaker, you're a professional problem solver. And you're a professional problem solver in the main part of your business, and you're a professional problem solver when you stand up to speak. One thing we didn't get a chance to talk about, because I didn't necessarily put it in my bullets for Laura, is at the end of this year, I'm coming out with a new book called Do It Speaking. Laura mentioned my first book is called Do It Marketing, but Do It Speaking is all about how speaking is the ultimate marketing strategy, and it's also the ultimate platform building and personal branding strategy in a world where your personal brand is even more important than your company brand. Let me repeat that because it's really pretty profound. In today's marketplace, as you're looking around, your personal brand as the CEO, the consultant, the thought leader, the owner of the business, your personal brand is going to have more impact and is going to be more important to your clients and prospects than your company brand. So this becomes who you are more so than what your company does or what your company says it does. So you as the face and the voice of your enterprise is becoming increasingly important when we're living in this hyper-connected digital world. Digitally, everyone can look good. In person, the trust, the relationship, the rapport, the relevance, when you're talking face-to-face, voice-to-voice, which includes video, audio, podcasts, all these great new technologies, but it's you as the CEO. It's you as the owner. It's you as the face and the voice of that business. And we don't want to make that face and voice into a professional speaker, but we do want to make you into a trusted advisor and a professional problem solver. And those two terms are pretty much equivalent. A professional problem solver is a trusted advisor and is perceived as a trusted advisor. Once you make that switch, getting back onto the speaking side, you'll easily command $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 fees for your work. You'll be positioned as the obvious choice for premium clients who are already seeking solutions and things that you're already brilliant at doing. Those clients are expecting to pay premium fees for the kinds of results and the products and services and programs that you deliver, and you will build a consistent $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month or more speaking-driven business, not necessarily just from speaking fees, because frankly, I tell my clients all the time, At the end of the day, I don't care if you get paid to speak. I care very much that you get paid because you spoke. So if you get a $0 speaking fee, you're in the right room with the right people, you're saying the right things for the right reason, and you end up with 5 clients each paying you $20,000, you probably couldn't get a $100,000 speaking fee. But if your speaking fee is 0, you could leave that room with $100,000 of business. And our clients do it all the time. It is simple, but not easy. It is simple, but not easy. So we'll give you that little caveat as well. Tony Lucero came through our program, did exactly what I just described to you. He says, long story short, I picked up 2 coaching clients totaling $32,400. I'm on retainer for 90 days at $10,000 per month with the company. The reason I'm telling you all this is not to boast, as many of you are much better than I am. However, it was doing the activity that David outlines and focusing on what I wanted to attract to my business that allowed the doors to be opened. Stay the course, do the work, and know your target market. And then I put down here in the comments, love, love, love these results, energy and momentum, go Tony. And Tony said, your program, David, made this possible. This is a perfect example of not pitching a speech and looking to solve a problem. If Tony had pitched a speech, he was already a $10,000 keynote speaker when he came to us. He wasn't always getting it, but he was always charging it. Now he says, well, no, hold on. Maybe it's not speaking at all. Maybe it's my consulting services. Maybe it's my program. Maybe it's my team. Maybe it's some one-on-one advisory work that you guys need to move the needle on your results. Notice he's embodying the mantra, not a professional speaker, professional problem solver. Professional problem solver is going to get paid all kinds of ways, all kinds of value, all kinds of distribution methods for your expertise, not just stand up, talk for an hour, sit down, go home. Most of our clients are not in the business of stand up, talk for an hour, get paid, go home. Most of our clients are in the business of their business, and they're using speaking as a lead generator, a revenue generator, or both, just like you see here in Tony's example. So I want to kind of set the light bulb off in your head. What could you do if you were in front of a room, and how many tens of thousands of dollars of products and services and programs could you sell if you were hyper connected to that audience? They knew the problems that you solved. You had a compelling case to do business with you based on results and outcomes that you deliver, not based on I, me, my, but by knowing your target market better than they know themselves and understanding exactly what problems they're looking to solve. That kind of relevance, that kind of connection, that kind of relationship with an audience, that's what's going to get them to buy from you. And this is what I was talking about with your personal brand is the best vehicle to communicate that. This will not come across in a brochure, my friends. This will not come across in a website. This will not come across in a sales letter. It will not come across anywhere nearly as effectively as when you stand up to speak. When you stand up to speak, people listen, people connect, people start to relate, people start to trust, and then people start to buy. And that's the cycle that you want to foster every time that you stand up to speak. Whether it's at your local chamber, Rotary Club, local chapter of an association of your target market, state conference, national conference, international, global, super summit of your target market. You know, this application of this goes small, medium, large, and supersize. Small, medium, large, and supersize. Let's look at prospecting next. I want to transform your thinking on this one. Nobody will value your expertise more highly than you. So there's some things in the prospecting process you have to let go of. Small potatoes thinking, imposter syndrome, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, my company's not old enough. I've got competitors who are older, I've got competitors who are younger, I've got competitors who are cheaper, I've got competitors who are way more expensive. Every excuse in the book in that imposter syndrome lexicon, we have to let go. Spray and pray marketing, we talked about that earlier. Outreach reluctance, nothing good happens outside of a conversation, ever. Please write that down, make another meme, another bumper sticker, another poster for your wall. Nothing good ever happens outside of a conversation with a prospect and a future client where you're inviting them to a conversation about how you can help them. If you don't like sales, take the word sales out of your vocabulary. Your main job from now on is inviting prospects to a conversation about how you can help them get to a result and an outcome that they already know they want. And you do that with questions, and you do that by offering value and inviting engagement to take the next step with you. The other thing you have to let go of is getting my name out there BS. Oh, I'll just start blogging. I'll just start writing some articles. I don't need to market. I have a newsletter that goes out every month. And maybe even a blind squirrel occasionally finds a nut, and once in a while you get business because someone saw a blog or some random person passed on a newsletter. But number one, that's not reliable, it's not repeatable, it's not consistent, and it's not proactive. So you need to stop deluding yourself that that's marketing. Getting your name out there is not marketing, it's self-delusional BS, and it needs to stop. Here's a definition of a prospect. They own the problem that you solve, they have a need, they have a desire to solve the problem, and they have a budget. What does that really mean? That means that your offer, your products, your services, your programs are relevant. They're not only relevant, but they want to solve the problem, so there's an urgency, and they have the ability to pay. If they don't have your fee, they are not your prospect. This is the definition of a prospect. They're missing number 3. They're not a prospect. How much time do you spend chasing non-prospects? Oh, we don't have the money. Oh, we can't afford it. Oh, maybe next year. Oh, it sounds really good, but we're going a different direction. We're putting it off. We're doing it in-house. My cousin Vinny's building the website instead of you guys. You cannot waste time with non-prospects. You should be investing time with prospects, but please stop wasting time with non-prospects. And this is true for your speaking. It's true for the main part of your business. It's true for your coaching, consulting, seminars, products, services, programs, whatever it is that you're doing. Mistake number 4 is aiming too low. Aiming too low, my best advice here is aim higher sooner. If you want to start speaking, both lead generating speaking and or revenue generating speaking, the local stuff's always going to be free. If you market locally, that is fantastic because that's where your local leads are. If you want to get paid and do the lead generation, that's going to be the state level associations and conferences or the national or even international associations and conferences. They typically pay a fee. Now, your mileage may vary, and there's all kinds of associations and all kinds of groups. If you haven't identified the trade and professional associations in your industry, I would say that you're completely missing out on a huge marketing channel for your business. If you're not sure if there is a professional association for your target industry, I would challenge you with this logo for APAWS. APAWS is the Pooper Scooper Company Association. So the people that come to your lawn, pick up your dog poop, and then put in a truck and go away, they have a professional association. It's called the Association of Professional Animal Waste Specialists. And the logo is right there. The acronym is APAWS. So trust me, my friends, if the Pooper Scooper people have an association, your target market has an association as well. John Garrett took this prospecting advice to heart. He says, this is the best ROI a recovering CPA could dream of. I was able to sell more speaking engagements to better clients at consistently higher fees, to the point of an 85% increase in income from last year. I booked a $5,500 gig within 5 weeks of starting the program. I'm putting John's story up here because when I tell my clients to charge more the perception is, well, I'm going to have fewer opportunities to speak. And I want you to look at John's language because it's the exact opposite of what almost always happens to our clients. Sell more speaking engagements, not less, but more, to better clients and at consistently higher fees. We all learned in 10th grade economics the supply and demand curve. The more something costs, the less buyers you'll find. This is not the case in the speaking world. You will lose business by charging too little. When you charge too little as a speaker or as a speaking-driven business owner, now you're undercutting your expertise. Your fee that you quote is part of your packaging and positioning. When you show up, I'll do it for $1,500. I'll do it for $2,000. I'll do it for $2,500. And you might never have gotten paid $2,000. You might think $2,000 is a lot of money. I'm here to tell you it's not. And they're going, well, wait a second. Laura Posey's only charging $2,000? I thought she was the best. I thought she was the Rolls Royce in her industry. And now I'm getting nervous. Like, what's wrong with her? Man, the website looks way better than a $2,000 speaker. Now they're getting nervous that you can't deliver the goods. They're getting nervous that you will embarrass them in front of their audience. And they're getting nervous that they made a wrong choice in connecting with you to be their speaker at their event. So please understand, when you level up, you will get more speaking opportunities in front of better clients and audiences, and you will get higher fees. When you get higher fees, here's the other secret, and this is not part of John's story here, but I'll tell it to you out of experience. The people that are at the high fee events are also more likely to hire you because low fee speeches are typically in front of low fee down market audiences. Higher fee speakers are hired at more premium events that attract a more premium audience. So you're more likely to have the successful CEOs, VPs, presidents, owners, where there's a $5,500 fee attached to your speaking than when there's a $1,500 fee attached to your speaking. So if you want to be in the right room with the right people who are there for the right reason, because you want to sell your back-end products and services, that's another reason not to accept a low-fee speech. It's going to be in front of the wrong people. It's going to be in front of the wrong people, 9 times out of 10. Mistake number 5 is having no secret sauce. I mentioned this earlier about the lack of packaging, being a same-o, lame-o speaker, where the risk is you sound the same, look the same, and act the same as everybody else. There's no specificity, no relevance, no urgency. What you're really doing is you're hedging your bets, like I was early on when I had 30 different workshop topics. Don't be that guy. Don't be the David Newman of your business when you're going out as a jack of all trades, master of none. You have some distinction, but you have to use it. What I mean by that is that your distinction can often be the unique overlap of your background, history, strengths, your expertise, all your experiences, previous jobs, previous careers, previous lives that you've had. We often coach our clients to think back to where do you have the right names to drop and the right stories to tell. Because you often will have low-hanging fruit hiding in plain sight when it comes to your backstory, the industries that you've worked in, the type of clients and customers that you've helped, and it's right there in front of you. It just needs to be organized in a different way. Let's talk about sales next, and we'll talk about my favorite part of sales, which is the money part, about fees and getting paid. So here's the economic reality about speaking fees. This is straight out of the National Speakers Association member survey from a couple of years ago. Notice the speaking fees, even for newbies, start at $3,800. Brand new, fresh off the boat. Now, here you are. You're a CEO of a small business. You're an entrepreneur. You're an executive at a company. They say, hey, Laura, how much would it be to bring you in? And Laura charges way, way more than this, but I'm just having some fun with her. $2,000. They go, uh-oh, hang on. We had this newbie speaker last year. She charged $3,800, and she wasn't even that good. And now we got someone who's cheaper, and this is where that nervousness sets in. This is where they start to go, we better look for somebody else. Now, here's what you think, because they'll never tell you. You said, hey, my fee is $2,000. They go, yeah, we're going in a different direction. You think you charge too much? You're dead wrong. You charge too little. They're never going to say to your face, oh, you know what? That fee is so low, it makes us nervous. But what you'll find is they went and they found a $5,000 speaker or a $6,000 speaker or a $7,500 speaker, because that person's fee is a completely different value prop. That person's fee is a completely different positioning. That person's fee is a completely different promise of getting an outcome and a result. So my bare minimum wage for you guys listening to me right now, if you can hear my voice right now, I never want you to quote a speaking fee less than $4,500. $4,500 is the floor. It is the floor of where serious executives, entrepreneurs, and professionals will charge to speak. You can do more than that, but it needs to be $4,500 at a minimum. One of my early mentors back in 2001, 2002 said to me, and this is great advice for speaking fees too, be expensive or be free. I'm not saying don't do gigs for free strategically. I do gigs for free strategically. I think Laura does gigs for free strategically. When we get paid big time. There's nothing in between. You don't want to show up cheap. You don't want to show up bargain basement. You don't want to be the budget option. So please, my friends, another bumper sticker, another poster, another keychain, another coffee mug. Be expensive or be free. And do both strategically. Do both of these strategically. So if you're tired of undercharging and under-earning, even if you're a seasoned executive, a seasoned entrepreneur, fees are a filter for your best clients. Fees are a filter for who they look at, like I just mentioned. Premium clients expect premium fees. It's not about what you need to earn. It's about what they need to pay to take you seriously. So we've had just some tremendous success with people up-leveling their fees, $106,000 of speaking fees in the last 6 months, $12,500 speaking fee for the very first time, $30,000 2-day program a client of ours did. These just go on and on. $20,000 of income up front from a coaching and consulting program that this gentleman used to charge $500 a month, and now he's charging $7,500 for 90 days. This from last year, I broke the 6-figure mark already this year. It's not even October yet. This was also from late 2017, $7,500 sale for the first time. Booked $33,000 in the past 3 weeks. Booked 2 $5,000 speeches this week, and booked the $60,000 or $70,000 contract in less than a week of sales cycle. This is all about resetting your mindset. We talked about small potatoes. We talked about getting out of your own way and starting to do this right and starting to do this smart. And letting go of imposter syndrome, letting go of I can't, I won't work for me. No one pays speakers. No one has budget. This will never work. It works if you work the plan. It works if you know what you're doing. Your packaging, messaging, articulation, distinction is all dialed in. You've got those 7 pillars that we talked about. The good news is that you can turn this around in a few weeks. No more small potatoes thinking. Stop treating this like an expensive hobby. Doing okay was not your initial dream when you started your entrepreneurial adventure. So I think as a speaker, you should be earning doctor money. And doctor money, according to payscale.com, the average for a family physician is $186,600 a year. For some of you that might be having a $500,000, $2 million business already, maybe it's 2 times that number or 3 times that number that you could add to your bottom line if you added a speaking revenue stream and a speaking arm to your business. Susan Robertson came into our program, had never charged anything really for a speech. Her first time out, $7,500. Then she had another program for $3,500. Literally, $0 to $11,000 of speaking income in less than 6 weeks. The last bonus strategy is to invest in mentoring. I've invested many tens of thousands of dollars over the years in my mentoring. This most recently, the last 24 months, over 6 figures in mentoring and coaching and people to help me elevate and escalate in my business. And I'll tell you why. A good mentor is going to give you great ideas and make sure you act on them. A great mentor also puts together a community of like-minded people working towards similar goals. This is always a force multiplier. In our mentoring programs that we lead, there are people earning $3,000 a month as a speaker, working right alongside people earning $30,000 a month as a speaker, and everyone wins from that cross-pollination, from that interchange. So this is the system that our clients use. The first 3, the strategy, the packaging, and the focus, are internal to what you're doing. The market-facing activities are prospects, outreach, and sales. Those are the external market-facing activities that you're doing. And then the secret sauce, of course, is scale. Scaling strategies like building an online course, like hiring a team, like doing sponsorship, like you saw Mike Thompson do, charging more, getting more, elevating and escalating the distribution methods for your expertise and for your company. So at this point, I'm going to invite you to take a fork in the road here, and then we're going to go to our Q&A here in a moment. The old way, which you can certainly stay on that fork in the road, is old results, kind of slow, kind of difficult to get the speaking thing dialed in. Perhaps you've already tried it and you're spinning your wheels. Can't figure out the code, even though we spent some time cracking the code here today, to the secret club of high-fee speakers, not reaching the next level of income that you want. And without any guidance or accountability or support, that can be a hard, lonely road. And I know it because I walked it in the first 3 years of my own business. Or I'm going to invite you to book a call with me and my team. And the URL to do that is doitmarketing.com/call. And that's really a clarity call and a strategy call to help you diagnose what's really going on and look at all these different factors that might need to be fixed, from your messaging and your packaging, your positioning, your pricing, your marketing, and your sales. Fill in what's missing for you to consistently get clients that you love and finally earn what you deserve, not necessarily as a speaker, but as a speaking-driven entrepreneur. How to add that 6-figure or multi-6-figure speaking arm or speaking division to the business that you have today. So this is for you if you're serious, decisive, and committed to making your business profitable through speaking over the next 60 days. Whether you've just dipped your toe in, you're just thinking about maybe getting started speaking, or maybe you've done a lot of speaking but have never monetized it the way that we showed you today. Whether you've got your speaking niche or message nailed down or not, that's part of what we'll talk about during this call when you go to doitmarketing.com/call to book a time. Whether you're in this full-time or maybe you've got a day job, kind of doing the entrepreneurial side hustle, planning your escape, speaking makes a great vehicle for doing that. As long as you're willing to follow a proven process to ramp up revenue and you take mentorship and direction well, and you'd like to put another $10,000 to $20,000 in your pocket over the next 60 to 90 days to build a predictable flow of clients and cash, that revenue-generating machine that we talked about that's driven by your business model, your speaking model, and your revenue model, I would encourage you, book a call while we're talking during our Q&A here, but starting in a minute or two. Go to doitmarketing.com/call. Here's what's going to happen. Here's why we're doing this. On the call, we're going to help you get total clarity about exactly what you want your business to look like and the exact steps that you should take given where you are to achieve your goals. If you decide during that call or after that call that you want our help and we think it's a good fit to invite you in, we can certainly discuss that or not. Either way, it's going to be the most valuable 45 minutes that you invest to grow your speaking-driven business and help you get results. And you can apply for that call, pick a time on the calendar, complete the questionnaire at doitmarketing.com/call. Let me throw it back to the amazing Laura Posey for our Q&A. If you have questions, please type the questions in the question box. I am happy to hang out here, answer any questions about today's teaching or how to add that speaking component to your business as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, as an expert who might want to start speaking professionally. So Laura, I'll throw it over to you. We can keep an eye on the question box. As the questions come in, we'll just knock them down one at a time.
Awesome. So first of all, I want to thank you just for all of the amazing information. Like that chart that you showed with the pathway was just, I mean, that is pure gold. Folks, if you are not looking at that and going, okay, what are the missing pieces? What is the stuff that I don't know how to do or that I'm afraid to do? And really being thoughtful about having every single piece, you're missing out on so much. Like it's like looking at that, I think of that, it's like the pieces of building a house. And if you're missing any one of them, the strategy is the foundation. But it's like if you're missing any one of those, it's like, well, I built this house, but I didn't bother to put the windows in.
Right.
Or I built a house, but I didn't bother to put the electricity in because I'm afraid of electricity. It's like crazy. If you don't have all the pieces, it just doesn't work. And so I think it's just incumbent on you to take a look at that and then have a call with David so that you can figure out, all right, if this is what I'm missing, what are the things I need to do to get that back in? And one of the things that I think is evident with just listening to David is that there's a difference between knowing what to do and being able to actually do it and getting over all that junk in your head that keeps you from doing the things that you need to do. Like if you're afraid of outreach, David's going to show you how to do outreach in a way that isn't going to freak you out. And so I thank you, David, for bringing this to us today, and two, for offering up that 45-minute call, because that's such a great value for people to be able to figure out, what do I need? Because sometimes we don't know what we need. And that happens to me a lot. It's like, well, I think the problem is this, but then I talk to somebody who knows what they're doing and they go, oh no, the problem's actually that. It's like, oh man, I didn't even see that.
Exactly.
Right. Because you're just too close to it.
Yeah.
And so I am just super, super excited about this. I think it is just a really cool way to figure out like what is actually broken and what are the steps I need to take to fix it. So
right.
that is just super cool. We put the link down here in the chat window for you if you want to just go click it instead of having to type it in. I hope I typed it in right.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's perfect. That's absolutely right. So it's doitmarketing.com/call. So I see that we've got some folks here who are sort of quiet. Just want to make sure, we see you, you see us. Any questions we can answer for Ben or Dave or Gabby or Holly or Katie or Renee or Robert or anybody, feel free. I'm at your disposal.
I look at it this way. This is free consulting time, people. Like when somebody says, hey, ask, and when I answer questions, it's like, okay, well, the clock is on and you're going to get great advice, but you're not paying for it, which I think is just really cool. I'm always shocked when people don't do that. They don't take advantage of free consulting time. And I don't know whether you're shy or, what's going on. So David, I'll put a question out there to you.
Sure.
It's somebody like me that's, I'm busy doing all the other things that I got going on in my life, right?
Yeah.
What is kind of the I don't want to say the easiest, what can I expect is a reasonable number of speeches to be able to add into my world without just crushing myself?
What a fantastic question. And I want to sort of reframe the premise of the question, but then I'll give you a good answer too. When you say,
okay,
how many speeches is it reasonable to add? My question would be, and Laura, I know your answer because you're brilliant at this, but my question would always be, well, what else are you doing to generate leads? And how well is that working for you? Oh, we send out a ton of direct mail. How's that working? Yeah, hardly ever. Oh man, we spent thousands on SEO. Oh, how many leads come in through your website? Not enough. And so all of this other work, I don't see speaking as adding extra work. I see speaking as a supplement, a complement, and in some cases a replacement for things that are totally not working. And when you want to do better, faster, smarter lead generation, speaking is often your quickest path to literally, think about what we say. in our business. Man, if I could just get in front of more prospects, if I could just open more doors. And Laura, I'm sure you get this all the time with your clients. People say, Laura, I have no problem when I'm in front of a prospect. 80% of the time, they love us and they buy. I just can't get in front of enough prospects. Now, listen to that language. I can't get in front of enough prospects. Instead of doing prospecting 1-to-1, imagine if you had the chance of doing prospecting 1-to-80 or 1-to-25 or 1-to-60. I mean, I've closed $10,000 of business in a room full of 12 people. I had a $3,000 front end offer. Here's what I did. It's a great story because it happens all the time. 12 people in a small little Philadelphia area consulting group, and I presented a local monthly meeting. I was kind of disappointed because 12 is fairly low attendance. I was like, wait a second, there's only 12 people here? At the end of the talk, I had a clipboard, and I said, if you'd like to have a quick chat about, what this is 2005 and 2006. If you want to have a quick chat about your business and how I can help you, here's the clipboard. 8 out of the 12 people booked a call, and 3 of them booked my little $3,000 mini consulting package at the time. So I would challenge you, was that a free speech or was that a $9,000 speech back in 2006? It was a $9,000 speech back in 2006. Fast forward to today, where I'm in front of 150 people at a state association meeting. I'm in front of 80 people at a regional networking thing for the Philadelphia Business Journal. You can be speaking for free and be making tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars on the back end of that. So how often would you like to do that is the answer to Laura's question. And if you start getting good at it and you start getting results from it, you may even turn off some of your other marketing busy work. Or, every entrepreneur tells me, oh, David, I feel like I have 100 marketing jobs and this is the last thing I want to add. I would agree with you. Turn off the 100 that don't work and just add this.
I think you hit on the big key there that I just always, and it's funny, it's practice what you preach, and I forget to do that sometimes. We talk about a one-to-many strategy always. Anytime you can get in front of 10, 20, 50, 100 people and demonstrate your expertise and demonstrate your knowledge and demonstrate your value live in front of them, the sales are so easy because they already know, like, and trust you from sitting there through your event.
Yeah.
And that you just get so much credibility that you just can't get any place else. And so I just think that's awesome. I want to get to a couple of questions here.
Sure.
So one of the questions we've got here is, any tips for social media strategy to promote ourselves as professional problem solvers?
Well, I think it's just exactly what Laura just finished saying. And I think that question came in right before you said what you just said, right? And I call this, in our world, we call this tangible sources of excellence. So a lot of people say, well, you have to have a book. You have to have a book, Laura, if you're going to be a speaker. I'd say that's completely false. There are people that get booked for $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 to speak. They don't have a book, but they have a really solid blog. There are other people that get paid $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 to speak, don't have a book, but they have an awesome YouTube channel with really useful, informative, relevant videos. There's people that get paid $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 to speak. They don't have a book, but they're known for doing the industry-leading survey, annual survey in their target market. Their tangible source of excellence is that survey. That's their platform. That's their externalization of their expertise. So I would say the best thing you can do in social media is to amplify, magnify, and point to all of your tangible sources of excellence. Tweeting for the sake of tweeting doesn't make any sense. Tweeting that leads people back to your website, to a high content article, blog, cheat sheet, checklist, download, video, something like that is a world of difference as opposed to tweeting or Instagramming what you had for lunch today. No one cares about what you had for lunch today, and that double pepperoni pizza is not going to bring you a client, but a video will, a cheat sheet will, a blog will, compelling, relevant content. And then that also is going to drive your speaking business, and it's going to drive the main part of your business too.
Yeah, again, I think it all goes back to building that credibility. It all goes back to that demonstrating your expertise. And, somebody told me a long time ago, when you deliver really great things for free, people think, my goodness, if this is what I get for free, imagine what happens when I pay.
Exactly
right? Like
right.
if this is the free stuff, the paid stuff must be freaking amazing.
Right.
So I've got another question here. I'm going to rephrase it just a little bit. Do you have any suggestions for developing your proposals and your contracts and all of that? Is it worth just going and getting the kind of free templates that are out there on all over the web, or do they really need to be sort of tailored to you and your particular topics and audience?
Now, come on, that's a loaded question, Laura. I know that you know the answer. You know that I know the answer. You're never going to get any sort of outreach template or proposal template off a generic website, because here's why. Not only are we professional sellers as business owners and entrepreneurs, we're also professional buyers. So when you get that boilerplate message, you get that boilerplate templatized LinkedIn message, you get that boilerplate email across your inbox, how do you feel in that first 2 seconds about that company or about that person? You're like, wow, dude, seriously? You didn't do any homework. You know nothing about my business, yet you're trying to pitch me phone services. You're trying to pitch me search engine optimization. You're trying to tell me that I need your XYZ service or program. We've never met, and you haven't done a single second of homework on my website about what I do, who I do it for, what problems I might have, or anything else. So I'll tell you a couple things that it should not be as far as a proposal or a template. I mentioned it earlier. No I, my, me, my, right? Any outreach to a prospect, first outreach, second, third, 10th outreach, doesn't matter, needs to be 100% about them, their people, their team, their company, their goals, their meeting, their conference, their employees, their benefits cost containment, their leadership, their sales numbers, their social media, their health and wellness. 100% client-centric focus. Number 2, always tailor and personalize. Imagine if someone doesn't spend 5 or 10 minutes researching you on your website, your social media accounts. They have some basic working knowledge of who you are and what you do and what you might be working on. You're not going to respect them. You're not going to give them the time of day. Why should they give you the time of day? If you've done no homework, no research, no rapport, no relevance, and no relationship. If you're marketing into big companies, this information is super easy to find. Even these days, small and medium-sized companies, it is super easy to find. Set some Google alerts. Look at their website. If it's a publicly held company, look at their annual report. Look at their media page. Look at their 3 most recent press releases. When you say, hey, Jim, you're the VP of sales at XYZ Corporation, I noticed that your CEO he's on a moonshot to Mars. He wants to take you guys from a $10 million company to a $50 million company in less than 3 years. I think I have some ideas that might be valuable for you. Could we grab 10 minutes for a little virtual coffee chat? I'd be happy to share those with you. You've done the homework, you're quoting the CEO, you're tapping directly into one of their major strategic initiatives that this guy is probably being evaluated on, compensated on, and getting a bonus or stock options on. That person's much more likely to take your call. That person's much more likely to connect with you because you've done your homework, you've shown respect, and you've shown relevance. So it's like, hey, who buys phone systems at your company? That's not a good approach. Doing it the way I just shared, much more likely to be successful.
Yeah, unmute myself here. I'm talking with no sound. And I think you hit on another key point there is it just doesn't take that long to do that little bit of research. The tools are all there. There's so many ways to find out just that one little thing, like, where they went to college. Around here, it's the University of Virginia is a big school. They just won the national championship in basketball. I mean, just being able to, in your email, say something like wahoo wah. Like, it's just a tiny little thing that warms them up and makes them know that you're paying attention to who they are as individuals. So I think that's fantastic. I'm always glad to hear when people say, yeah, most of the stuff that's out there is absolute crap. And even from some big reputable companies, like, you go to like Forbes and Entrepreneur and all those places, and somebody's written an article about something, and they're like, oh, here's a free resource. And I'm always shocked at how awful they are and how basic and generic and just kind of useless. Of course, I go look at all the strategic planning stuff, and I'm like, really? This is what y'all are putting out as a strategic plan? This is lame.
Right.
So I can't even imagine the things that show up for things that are really important, like proposals and contracts. All right, last call for questions. I want to respect David's time, but I also want to make sure that if you've got a question, we get it answered for you.
And let me just tag on one quick thing while people are typing their final question. Because exactly what you said is true, Laura, the great news for the rest of us, the bar is set really low. I mean, you don't need to do days of research and figure out, how does the CEO like his scrambled eggs? This is basic blocking and tackling, easy to find information. Use LinkedIn, use Google, use the search engines, use YouTube. I like to have 3 pieces of data on a client before I make any sort of outreach. I can generally find that 3 pieces of data in 5 minutes or less. 95% of consultants and professional service providers and salespeople, for sure, they do not spend that 5 minutes. If you and I spend that 5 minutes, we are instantly top of the heap.
I'm sorry, I'm typing, typing a note to some folks. Absolutely amazing. I just saw a couple of people private messaged me and said that this was fantastic that they signed up. So I'm super excited. I can't wait to see what comes out of the calls that you've gotten. If you haven't booked your call, go ahead and get in there. I know David has a very busy schedule, and I want to make sure that you can get in there and get your call scheduled so that you can find ways. I mean, he's going to actually ask you some questions and help you find ways to improve your business right there while you're on the call. So I am super excited that he's made this offer to us. It's really, really powerful. And so it's just a great way to take all the things that you learned today and really have an expert show you in your individual business where you can get the biggest bang for your buck and where you can make the biggest difference. So I'm just super excited about it. David, I want to thank you for joining us today. I want to thank you for sharing your expertise, for sticking around and answering questions for us. I'm really, really excited to talk to you in probably 2 or 3 weeks. And I want to find out how the strategy calls went and, sort of how things are going, because these are my clients and I want to make sure that we're taking amazing care of them. I know that you are, but I want to know like what's happening. So
oh my gosh. Well, we're gonna not only give you the update, we're going to give you the success stories as they come in.
Oh, I love that. I love it. I'm very careful about the folks that I bring to my clients, and I vet them very heavily. I make sure that they really do know what they're talking about. And so I just want to thank you for sharing your time and your expertise with us today. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I am ready to rock and roll. Let's go do this.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, everyone.